Oh, yeah, it's I'm 66.
Hi, this is Tom Mody recording on July 31st, 2024. But we're going all the way back, it looks to 1968, and this is a full reel of videos that were supplied by the Simons family, who recently had them converted over from Super 8 to digital. And this is Easter, I'm guessing, of 1968 back in the Simons yard. Now, this is my father and myself entering with my dad smoking, and everybody's really dressed up. I've got this crazy red suit on. But everybody's in some type of Easter attire, which I'm guessing maybe this happened after church on Easter Sunday. But this yard, the Simons yard, was next to my grandparents' house, which you can see in the background. And then next to my grandparents' house was where we lived in the apartment building that used to be Mody's restaurant. And spent a lot of time back. Oh, there's some Moranos. That looks like Carlo Morano. So, and that could be Karen Newman there in the white, not sure. But obviously played a lot in this yard in that hole we called the quarter. So everybody was in all of these, everybody else's yards running around unsupervised and feeling fairly safe back in the day. So again, 1968 Easter at the Simons family. Looks like we're all looking for Easter eggs. Some things never change. Now we're going to have about 3 minutes here of the Pageant of Bands. I don't know what year this is. This one looks like it's pretty old. This could go back even to the late 50s, early 60s. I don't know. Maybe mid 60s. I don't think this is a later towards the 70s based on the vehicles from that photo. But I just wanted to kind of pull some of their footage that was of the Pageant of Bands and just get a feel of the times. And this is coming through downtown Sherburne. So did I see this correctly in the background? The gas was 28 cents. Obviously a long time ago. What are we now, around 350? Somewhere in there. Here in 2024. There's Mr. Peanut. Mr. Peanut was somebody that would always come to these events, and he would throw peanut bags out to the kids in the crowd, and I featured him in my book, The Dogs of Sherburne. And you can see the crowds here fairly deep. I haven't been to the pageant in quite a few years, maybe 5, 6, somewhere in there. But this is a typical crowd for the times where you've got 6, 7, 8 people deep. Looks like maybe more than that. But this is right downtown too, where they're doing the judging. So it may very well be that that crowded. But this was the thing to do, of course, back in the day. In your summer, you looked forward to the Pageant of Bands, and you looked forward to the 4th of July. It's kind of the fireworks is two things that really kind of had the whole village together. That's a lot of people, yeah. And that mobile station right there is now the Stewart's, as of somewhere in the 2000s. Used to be a laundromat for many years. And I'm not sure if that house there in the background is still there anymore either. Okay, here's a good view of, now we're into, I don't know if this is the same year as the earlier footage. Maybe the earlier footage was just washed out, or maybe this is a later year and it's better video. But this is a good color footage of the pageant coming through the center of town. And I'd like to get a good look at the corner building there, but I don't think we're going to see a good view of it. And there's some nice shots of the clock tower at the church. And yeah, typical first week of June in Sherburne, New York. Really curious what that sign is on the corner. Do not know who those people are. Okay, we are at a birthday party, and again in the Simons' backyard. Is that their family supplied the footage? This could be Jackie or Terry Simon's birthday. I'm actually sitting right there on the end of the bench next to Kelly Lewis. Oh, and I'm turning around, and I'm sure we're all going to wave. Yep. Hello, hello, camera. And Jackie Simons is sitting at the far end of the table, which might suggest it was her birthday. Now, do not know a lot of these kids, except those two. A kid in the green shirt is Stephen Abbott, and his brother Jim behind him. Unfortunately, Steve passed away this year in June, so it's really interesting seeing footage of him. My first good friend from childhood. And Terry and Jackie. Oh, it looks like maybe it was actually Terry's birthday because she had a little hat on there in the background. This lady in the white shirt looks familiar, but I don't know. And of course, people like my father and Aunt Jay are have passed here in the past year and few years. So identifying some of these people, and that's the Simons, Florence Simons in the background. And I'm now all the way at the end of the table on the other end, sitting next to them. You can't see me at the moment. But I believe I'm probably next to Terry or Jackie on the far side. Yep, I'm waving there on the left, and you can see Florence behind me. Do not remember this party. It looks like I'm about 4 or 5 years old, so that would put it somewhere around 1970. That woman is, I believe her name, they called her Sophie, and that was, she might have been a Morano, actually. I believe that's her right there with Terry. So this does look like it's Terry's birthday. So this footage here is, this is my grandparents, Rose and Tony, and they're leaving the Simons house with, that looks like Mike Morano in front of them. Don't know what the event is, but again, people dressed up in those days, so have no idea. But this was good to see some footage of my grandparents, which we're going to see later on as well. And not sure about the year. That was one of my father's Weimaraners, which he would, a dog there, which he would train for hunting. And again, more Morano children, I'm guessing. Oh, there's Aunt Lila in the tan coat. And this is a view from the Simons yard, and you can see the back side of my grandparents' house. It looks like at this time it was partially unfinished with that green siding. All right, this is coming out of the back of my grandparents' house. Now, I lived in the gray building upstairs there. I do not know what year this is. Don't know if I was born yet or not, but most likely, based on the age of the Morano kids that I'm going to potentially see here. Don't know who that is. That's in my grandparents' yard. And I'm guessing that they are on a trailer of some type that my father would use to transport Christmas trees, as he was a Christmas tree farmer. That's Mike Morano. I potentially could be about a year old here. Maybe you won't. There's Uncle Don. You won't see me in this video. Uncle Don in the hat. That is my father in the white shirt in the background. And Uncle Don, of course, is Uncle Don Newman, who was married to my father's sister, Jeanette. That is my father's other sister, Lila. Also in the white shirt. I don't know who this boy is that's hamming it up in the front. Karen Newman was back there in a white shirt. That was the girl with shorter hair. My grandparents' yard with flowers. That looks nice. I don't remember that as a kid, so that looks to be my mother. In if you go rewind this up, she was in a gray kind of skirt. That's my father there in the white. There she is, I think. Maybe. I don't know. Hard to tell. Don't know which one of his dogs that was, but he used to have a dog named King when I was a baby, and that potentially could be King. This footage looks like this is in the Morano house. That's my grandfather, Tony, and my grandmother, Rose. Um, I just thought this was nice footage of them to include in this. And Tony and Rose, their Uncle Carlo, their names, of course, are synonymous with my children, Antonia Rose, and Antonia as in Anthony, and Julian Anthony. That was Aunt Lila and Uncle Carlo in the background there. Now, this looks like this is getting into the early 70s, and I am at a zoo somewhere with the Simons girls, Jackie and Terry. That would be Jackie in the striped shirt feeding the animals. That's me in a cowboy hat climbing on a rock. I'd like to think that I have somewhat of a vague memory of this, but maybe not. Interesting. It looks like kangaroos. And again, don't know where this is or anything, but you know, this is footage that was lost for many years. I wouldn't call it lost, but just undeveloped to digital form. I was really excited at my aunt Jeanette's celebration, her life, or at her funeral, however you want to look at it. That they mentioned they had this footage and that I was in some of it, and I'm grateful for them to supply it for the Mody family archives. And I'll be signing out. Maybe one day we'll find some more gems.